Welcome, friends, to my program Rooted with Ray. Today, I am excited to be having a conversation with two realtors and property managers who are in Costa Rica. We are going to be talking about the opportunities to live and invest in that beautiful country and how they are able to help you make that happen. A lot of times, Americans are looking for new ways to invest their money in outside of the US that may be profitable and have a higher return on investment. And with the world shrinking and technology growing, the opportunities are there. And Costa Rica is a place a lot of folks love and want to experience. So today we will be talking more about how you can possibly purchase a property, a short-term rental, long-term rental, or your dream vacation or retirement home. And today I'd like to introduce my guests, who are Steve and Robbie, who are from Orlando, Florida, my hometown. They've been in real estate for a while and decided to move to beautiful Costa Rica and open up real estate and brokerage and property management company. Steve speaks English, Spanish, and Portuguese and has a background in organizational leadership. And Robbie is working on his Spanish and has a strong business management and marketing background. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, so as I started the conversation, what I want to really is to have a nice conversation about what you're doing in Costa Rica and how we might be able to help folks invest there and make it a profitable return on investment, as well as maybe enjoying their properties there too in that beautiful country. Tell me first why you guys decided to head over there to live.
Well, I think it was a multifaceted decision. I think we were at the point in our lives where we wanted to try something new and exciting, and we loved Orlando. We started looking at what other options we could do as far as moving abroad. We made a short list, narrowed it down to about 3 places, and Costa Rica really checked off all the boxes. I think the main focus were LGBT rights.
Yep.
A stable economy. What else?
Being able to bring the dogs.
Yes, dogs are important to us. So
Of course.
And the economics of getting residency. So, I mean, you can go to a lot of countries, like you could go to Europe on an investment visa in a lot of countries, but it might be $1 million upfront investment.
Yeah.
Where in Costa Rica, you can come live here you can get residency on a visa that's $150,000 American. So it's much easier, much more, the entry point is more accessible.
Yeah.
So
And it's a lot closer too.
Yeah, it's a lot closer, 3 hours from
Orlando.
So, and they checked all the boxes. So
Yeah, great. And I'm sure that the food and the beaches and the tropical scenery doesn't hurt either.
I mean, we were already kind of accustomed to warm weather being from Orlando. So, it wasn't a huge climatic, adjustment for us either.
Yeah, and so you started like you've been settled there for a little while, and now you've opened up your brokerage. And what are your like high level goals? We'll get a little more granular as we go along, but what are your high level goals for the brokerage in terms of what your vision is?
We just really want to help people like us that want to move to Costa Rica and help them avoid the pitfalls. We made mistakes, and we would love to help people learn from our mistakes, and then also really help people see the opportunity here for investment. So, there's a lot of foreign investment here in Costa Rica, benefiting everybody, the local economy and, the people, bringing dollars into the country. So, we want to help people realize those opportunities that are here.
Right? And that brings up a good point. A lot of people go, okay, I want to invest in another country, maybe to live there part-time, or because, again, like I said earlier, the entry points in terms of dollars are a little less maybe than the United States. But they go, how do I start, and how do I do this without getting in trouble? Let's start with the bad stuff. What are the things that people do that probably, and maybe some of them that people do that end up getting them in a pickle if they try to do this without someone like you?
They use a bad lawyer. and they get scammed. That's like the biggest pitfall, which is easily avoidable if you're using, somebody like us that will direct you to the right people to use. I will tell you, we originally, the very first lawyer that we used cost us well over $1,000 just in paperwork. They told us, before you leave the States, get all your paperwork done, get your apostilles done, and all that stuff for your residency process. So we did that. Like
We're very organized.
yeah, we were like, we got
right.
it. When we got on the plane, we had our paperwork ready to go. But because our closing took so long, all that paperwork expired. So they're very particular in immigration on when you get your paperwork done and all that kind of stuff. We actually had to redo it all. We had to fly back to the United States to get our fingerprints redone for our FBI background check for our residency and all that stuff. So that cost us $1,000 just in paperwork, just from bad advice from a lawyer who wasn't really listening to what our plan was. They were just saying, oh yeah, it'd be easier if you just get your paperwork done before you come. Well, no, it wasn't what we should have done at all. So, and every situation is different. So like, you may be coming here and buying, and you may only be staying a few months a year, and you don't even need to worry about that paperwork, but we can help people guide you through what you need, what you're going to need, and when to do it. So, but the biggest pitfall I would say is getting the right lawyer and taking care of you correctly legally.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like you said, time is of the essence. And it's like our contracts. And if you miss those timelines, you end up having to start from scratch. I've heard that before, actually, with other folks and investing in other countries too, if they want to be there long term and want to get those visas. So tell me about the area that you live in, because you're going to be focused mainly on that area for now, right? So a little bit of why you picked that area, and yeah. Go ahead.
Of our little slice of paradise. So we really like it. We live in Playa del Coco, which is in the province of Guanacaste. It is right here on the map.
Great.
So right there. It's a great place. It's more centrally located than a lot of Costa Rica. It's really easy to get to an airport. So we're about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic, to the Liberia airport. The beaches here are beautiful. The people are fantastic. The Ticos that we've met and befriended have been just great. There's a great community here. There's also a very large expat community. So if you don't want to have some friends, we have friends from Canada, we have friends from the United States, we have friends from Costa Rica. So the social scene is also really good, but really the picturesque, and it's just a very peaceful community. We really, really like it.
So where we are, like, we service, down, towards Tamarindo and stuff like that. Our little pocket right here, though, is very, quiet. But if you want like surf, beach, party town, you're only, a 45-minute drive away, from any kind of thing you want. Also, what we like about being in Guanacaste is if you're here as a perpetual tourist, or while you're waiting for residency, you can pop up to Nicaragua to get your passport stamped every 6 months. So you stay and drive legally in the country. So it's very, very convenient as far as like, managing that. And like Steve said, the airport, if you want to come and go, it's just the location can't be beat.
So tell me a little bit about the Costa Ricans culture and what is wonderful about that. It's great that you have expats that you can, socialize with. That's always something that people fear is, do I make friends there? So that's great. But it's also nice to know what kind of culture you're getting into, if you can give us a little bit of a feel for that.
Sure. Obviously, like the slogan of the country is Pura Vida, and that means a little bit different to everybody. The pure life, but really it is a state of mind where people of Costa Rica they prioritize family, they prioritize friendships, social time. So we love that. We embrace that. It also, I think, for a lot of expats, a part of that is we're used to being a little more rigid and, keeping to very strict schedules as far as work and social. Where here, that is not the case. So I think that's where some expats struggle, but they really take nature, family, like they all come to the beach for every holiday. Like they love love being outside. They, hiking volcanoes. Like all our Costa Rican friends, what they want to do is they want to do something outdoors always. We're like, can we like hit up a restaurant with AC? They're like, no, we're going tubing, or we're going to do this or that.
We're going to hike to a waterfall. It'll be great.
Yeah.
I love it. Come on.
Like culturally, if you're somebody from, that loves the outdoors and stuff like that, all your friends are going to be Costa Rican for sure.
Yeah,
when you come here, you'll be totally fine. But culturally, the differences really truly are like just a slower pace of life and just not taking things as seriously. Like not, as Americans, I feel like sometimes we take everything as serious as a heart attack. And here they're like, you'll hear tranquilo all the time here, which means no worries, like it's fine, like we'll figure it out. And that's something that I have been trying to embrace more and more living here. So, like a kind of type A personality. So like, letting that go.
Yeah, I mean, they very much live for the moment, right? They live to fulfill their needs now. And I think there's a richness of life that comes along with that freedom of not stressing about, your next project for work or where your next, huge deal is going to come from. It's more like, do I have enough to feed my family today? Great, let's all come together and we'll have a great time.
Yeah, they don't take work home, you know what I mean? They're like, I'm done. Like they're done for the day.
They're out, they're at the beach, they're with their family.
Yeah. So we need to like embrace that more.
Yeah.
Like
maybe there's a
fantastic.
But we're enjoying
I
it.
want to get over there right now. I've also heard, I follow the blue zones throughout the world, and you're explaining why these people probably live close to 100 because where are those folks? That's the blue zone area? Yeah.
Sequoia Peninsula, the highest concentration in the country.
High in the country. These people live more laid back lifestyle, healthy, moving a lot, like you're saying, and probably eating very well and organically. So that sounds fantastic. I know that their culture or their country has a lot of initiatives and maybe if you want to talk a little bit more about that, initiatives to keep the country running in a very healthy way, for the people.
I think there's a much more healthy attitude towards food and where your food comes from. I will say the quality comparison we've noticed between beef, chicken, a lot of the produce, especially, those three things seem to be very important to them, and the quality is incredible. All of their beef is all grass-fed. They don't use corn like we do in the States. The flavors are just richer, and it's just fantastic. And it's for the most part pretty good for you. They don't use a lot of salt.
Yeah, very low salted food, but well seasoned. But
it tastes great,
salty.
but it's not high in salt.
Nice.
No corn syrup, no high fructose corn syrup. The only time you're gonna get like high fructose corn syrup in a product is if you're buying an import, like an imported from the U.S. Otherwise, you're not gonna see it. They're gonna use real sugar, or they're gonna use some honey or something like that as a sweetener. It definitely is a difference. Like when you're at a restaurant, you get dessert. It's not going to be the level of sweetness and sugar that you would get in the United States. And, for some people, that's going to be a pro. Some people, that's going to be a con. But, I mean, something you adjust to either way. But, it is definitely different, health-wise with that kind of stuff. They're just that corn syrup and all the sweetness and stuff, just not there.
Sounds like a wonderful place to live healthy lives and definitely to wind down from the hustle and bustle of living in the United States. So, all right, let's get into investing in Costa Rica. Like I said, would like to let my folks know, and again, we can get into granular conversations with you at a different time, but today, what are opportunities for people that want to invest in these short-term rentals, long-term rentals, property to hold, to let it go up in value over time in your area?
I mean, most of the people who, like the foreigners who own here, fall into two categories. One are the folks that have their second home. They come down here when they want to use it, and they rent it out while they're not here. And they have a proper management company that will rent it out for them while they're not here, and all that kind of stuff. And then two, you have the serious investors who are owning multiple properties. They're developing, maybe four homes on a property with a pool in the center. They rent, so a bigger scale situation. So you kind of have I'm buying this, I'm coming down during like a snowbird situation, or I'm buying it, I'm coming down over the holidays, and I intend to retire in it one day. And then like the bigger, more multi-unit investor. So you have those two kind of categories of people.
So tell me, how is the return on investment on a property that you rent there? And once you cover obviously the cost of property management and everything.
So if you're looking at cash on cash, it's a much better return than at least in Florida, as I recall, and it's been a while. Florida was in single digits when it comes to return. Here, the cost of ownership is low, but the cost of rental is high. Yeah. So if you own a property, your cost of living is very low, but when you're renting, it can be a lot higher. So you see double-digit return on investment, 10 to 13%, to be honest here, is not unheard of. And that's pretty passive. If you really go after it and have a really good management company that's actively promoting your property, promoting it the right way, in the right venues, on the right channels, with the right people, you can see even better returns on your investment.
Yeah, the problem is that if you're not here, you're an absentee owner and you have a poor management company, you're getting bad ratings on all the sites, you're gonna have low occupancy rates on your units, and then your return's gonna diminish, right? But if you can boost it. There are people here who are making 36 grand a year on a 2-bedroom condo that they bought for like $180,000. You know what I mean? Like, that's an incredible return. So they're not all like that. It's all about how you're marketing it, how you're keeping it, up with the property and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you can, it used to always be here, condos and only really studios, 1-bedroom, 2-bedrooms. There's so many more families coming to Costa Rica now. So the 3-4 bedrooms, the single family homes and stuff, that's really where the growth is right now as far as new construction and what people are looking for rentals. So, there's plenty of the 2 bedrooms, 2 baths situations. Where the growth really is the 3-4 bedrooms and single family homes.
And is there a lot of that going on in your area? A lot of new builds, new construction? Great. Okay.
There's more new construction happening here in Guanacaste than the rest of the country combined. So
wow.
It is the biggest town.
And I don't want to get too granular on what you can purchase, but tell me a good let's say 2-bedroom, 1 or 2 bath condo close to where people would want to be when they're vacationing or in Costa Rica. Entry point for that in terms of new versus resell. Can you give me some general high levels?
Yeah, if you're I was just out this week showing an American basic condos for like a 2-bedroom, 2 bath was the goal. And everything we saw, stuff that was more dated and really needed to be refreshed, was around 200 or a little under there, 200,000, to completely redone, Mac Daddy gorgeous 250 to 275, for a 2-2. And I'm talking like literally 900 feet from the beach. So that's, you can go, like if you wanted, you could go, not that long ago, a unit in our complex sold, it was a 1-bedroom. It's a very small 1-bedroom, but it sold 135. So if you were like going for a 1-bedroom, like you could even, go less. So now that yeah. So, and also you keep in mind, if you're just going to be here using it, or if it's just an investment and you're not looking for residency, there's no limit, no floor. You can buy an inexpensive property. It doesn't matter. There's no requirements.
And tell me, okay, so how do you buy a property? And I'm sure this is very complicated. We're just at a high level. What are the things that an American would need to do to buy a property? I know you've told me that pretty much cash is the only way to do it. There's no real financing going on, and that's okay.
There are some niche financing available. It's very expensive, and it's usually like a 2-year. It's very short term.
Yeah.
We have not used those yet. They just seem a little...
It's expensive.
It's very expensive. So really, you do need cash to purchase, and you're going to be purchasing in dollars. So if you're coming from Canada, you will need to figure out the dollar situation. The process is relatively straightforward, but there are a lot of players that you really need to have in your court. Number one is your agent that's going to help you find the home and then connect you with the proper people. The lawyers down here really run the show. If you have a good lawyer, your transaction will go as smooth as it can. If you have a poor lawyer, it can be a nightmare, and they will drag it out for months. So really the attorneys are the ones that you really have to vet and make sure you've got someone has used before and spoke highly of, and typically has a little bit more experience. They seem to be highly specialized here as far as attorneys go. So we have one that just does real estate. That's all they do. There's another one that we have that just does property management advice, things like that. So they're very highly specialized.
Yeah, and too granular, but like you want to get yourself a buyer's agent, please feel free to use us.
Absolutely.
See some properties. If you've never been to Costa Rica, you might want to travel around the country a little bit to determine what because the climate is different all over the country. So you might want, if you want to be up in the mountains, it's going to be cool. It's going to be rainy all year. If you want to be down here at the beach, it's going to be hot, and it's going to be dry half the year, wet half the year. So you have to decide what you want. But see some properties. You're not going to have like a 38-page contract like you do in the United States. We're literally going to put together an offer letter that says we want to buy your property with the most basic terms. They're going to accept or deny. You're going to have your due diligence process. We're going to get you an inspection done like you would get done in the United States. It is not required, but we are going to make you get one. And, and then you go through the closing process. We highly recommend an escrow company that holds escrow in the United States just for your protection. So that is, a big key thing during the process. So that way, if anything, if your transaction does not close, for whichever reasons, if you're entitled to your escrow back, you'll get it back. So, that's very, very important that you're using an escrow company based in the US.
Getting the money for closing in and out of the country can be hairy. So we definitely recommend a US based escrow company. We have a couple we use that are very good.
Fantastic.
If there's different requirements too, whether if you're buying from somebody who's banking in Costa Rica, it is more complicated to give them the money. Like you have to show more provenance of the funds than if it's going internationally. So if the money's going to Canada, Europe, United States, it's not as big of a deal. If the money is coming into Costa Rica, they have a lot of banking restrictions. So there's a little more provenance that needs to be shown for the funds. But, once you get to closing, one of the biggest struggles that some of the foreigners have is like getting your utility set up, getting internet, all that kind of stuff, especially if you don't speak Spanish. And that's another thing that, if you have a good agent like us, we can help you take care of, that you don't just sit in a dark condo for 3 weeks trying to figure out how to get the power up.
Yeah, and they tell you, despacio, take your time, right?
Thank you.
Tomorrow. Yeah, so that's great. And yeah, I was going to get to that. So let's talk a little bit about the value of your property management company. Why did you create the property management side, and what are you doing to really help folks, manage those properties, make money from them, all that good stuff?
So we saw definitely that area of the business was being underserved, especially from a customer service standpoint. Just like anywhere else in the world, US, Canada, France, wherever, there are some companies that may not be above board. And we saw that there was definitely an opportunity to manage a property in the way that people from other countries are more used to, much more transparent. So we do everything as transparent as possible. You get a statement every month. We've paid this bill. This is your balance. Here's the money we're going to send you. We're also set up from a banking standpoint, both in Costa Rica and the United States. So getting money back and forth is very easy with our company.
We'll save you money. Sending money into Costa Rica can be expensive for some banks. So if you can, we have it set up at the right bank in the United States. So if you need to transfer us money to pay your bills, we can get it into the country cheaper than a lot of people because we've arranged at the right bank that's doing it with the same bank here kind of situation.
And you hear the horror stories of unscrupulous property management companies that will rent out your unit and not tell you.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to provide a service where people didn't have to worry about that kind of thing. It's hard enough having a property in another country that's far away. We want to take all that pressure and stress away from you. So we set up the utilities, we make sure that they're paid on time, because that's another thing, is not all the utilities can be paid online.
With an American credit card.
So you have to have a bank in Costa Rica to pay certain bills. So we can take care of that for you because they cannot be paid any other way.
Setting up a bank account in Costa Rica is very difficult if you're not a Costa Rican. Our personal bank account, like when we first moved here, it took us 3 months to get it set up. So, I mean,
3 months and about $900 worth of paperwork.
You have to get like all the stuff from accountants with seals and notarized and all this stuff. And so it's complicated. Having a good property manager that you can trust can eliminate you from even having to do that.
And from a marketing perspective too, we market things very differently than most of the other property managers. Most of them just throw it on their website and hope for the best. We are on all of the major websites: Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. We have a local site that we run. We have a Facebook page. Facebook is huge down here. So we are always in the Facebook page groups, posting your properties, responding to people looking for things, because it's very hard to verify things. People don't really use Google very much here, like Google Maps. So discovering things is a little bit more challenging. So people have, in that vacuum, created a lot of groups in Facebook, which is their main vehicle of kind of discovery of businesses. So we've kind of tapped into that, where we're very good at being in those groups, being aware of who's looking for what. And so we don't just post the property, we actively try to source them. And so we've been very successful in getting our clients very good returns, much better than they had in the past.
And there's a surprising amount of people who are already in country that are looking for a rental. Like, a lot of people will just book like a week somewhere and come down, even though they're going to be here months. And then they start looking for their next place to stay while they're here. And so they're in these Facebook groups saying, hey, I need a 2-2 for, like, the 17th through the 14th of the following month. So we're in there, like, all day, we are monitoring. Our operations manager is like tagging, our properties in these posts constantly. So we are promoting these rentals like everywhere.
It's fantastic. And I think that's really important, because you're right. Even in the States, there are some old-fashioned property management companies that aren't using technology to really promote investment properties, especially short-term rentals, and the customers lose a lot of potential revenue if the technology is not there. So that's really powerful, and I do get it, and want to emphasize to folks that are listening that that's really important. If you're going to invest in another country, you need a team like these guys that are going to be able to manage it soup to nuts and be able to keep it rented as much as possible if that's what you want.
Yeah, we want to keep those occupancy rates high for sure. We run paid ads in key markets that come to this area. Like, this area is huge with Canadians, especially from the Toronto area. So we run paid Facebook, Instagram ads in Toronto and the surrounding areas, because that's where so many of the people that are coming down on vacation, they come for months at a time. So we can book, a month at our Airbnb by running a few, ads on Meta, Facebook, Instagram.
Fantastic. All right, so tell me, is there anything else that you all want to share about investing, living in Costa Rica before we start to wrap up? What I like to tell folks is, they know me, they may not know you, but connect with me, and then I'll set up an introduction to you all, so that they feel comfortable with that first conversation, and go from there. That's what I do with my peers in other parts of the world. As I do this in a couple of spots that I love and think are good opportunities for folks. But is there anything else that you want to share? And
I would encourage people to make a visit first. Try to tour as much of the country as you can. Bounce around through Airbnbs. We can help you find them. It's good just to kind of see, because Costa Rica is not large, but from a environmental standpoint, you have the tropical savanna, you have the tropical rainforest, you have the mountain cloud forest. It is so many different ecosystems, which can be very, very different depending on where you're living. So take a month, bounce around, spend a week in some Airbnbs, decide where you really like, and then reach out to us and ask what questions, and to help answer your questions. And remember, this is, yes, a destination, but becoming an expat in paradise is really a process. So it will take some time. This will not happen overnight, but it can be done. We can help you with it and make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I heard you say that, like the initial part, like you're saying, is to explore the country, and you can kind of help them find places so that they can explore in all the regions they need to as well. Is that?
Yeah, if you let us know like what you're kind of looking for, like if you want to have a coffee farm up on a mountainside, we can direct you to the right place. So it depends on what we can kind of, like, when we were moving down here, we knew we wanted to live on the Pacific coast, and we actually took a week and we drove the Pacific coast of Costa Rica to find the area that we wanted to be in. So we went from basically Panama up to Nicaragua, the whole coast, and stayed in different places, and to determine that this was the right place for us. but if you have very specific, you're like, I want to live in this type of a place, we can say, hey, check out this, check out this, check out this, and then you can eliminate what you don't like from there.
And also pricing will dictate where you end up as well.
Yes.
Like anywhere else, location, you're going to spend a little bit more in certain places than others, and we can help you navigate that as well.
I am excited to get this video out soon to my folks, and excited to hopefully be able to refer some folks to you real soon after they listen to this. I really appreciate your time today, and I will give folks information so that they can reach out to us, on the video.
Sounds great.
I love
Bye,
it.
guys.
Pura vida.
Pura vida.